If it is or if it ain't, it's gonna come out.
Good morning, everybody. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you are listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. It is November the 11th, 2021, and today the topic is the blind leading the blind. Those of you all that are going to be listening to the podcast version, you probably just heard the intro. Basically, I took the intro from what people hear on the live version, and I put it for y'all because in the hopes that it helps with this whole no instrumental thing. I didn't really get any feedback aside from my virtual assistant's feedback. So, I guess y'all like it, so I'm just going to keep it going. But for my own peace of mind, I added that intro. So hopefully that did something today, but we'll see. But anywho, the blind leading the blind. All right. So, long story short, y'all, a lot of things has happened. I know y'all know about what took place over the weekend, and I've been, kind of keeping myself informed of, this one guy in particular. He changed his name on Instagram, so it's Nuke, N-U-K, Santiago now. I've been keeping up with him, and because he basically, long story short, he gave like his firsthand account of what happened at that concert that I was telling you all about. I think it was Monday that I was talking about it, and basically him waking up right and going live that night, he went viral, and so he's been sharing since then, that he's kind of seeing that the news isn't reporting the full thing of what he saw, and he's getting other people to share, their testimonies of what they experienced and all of that, right? So, so I've been following him in his journey, and maybe you guys should check him out too. I know he seems to be, taking a bit of a 360, like, got a new lease on life after experiencing what he did last weekend at, again, that concert that, I think most of us are familiar with. So, so he's been on my mind a lot. So I've just been praying for him and just trying to, hope in the hopes that, he just, stay on the path and allow God to lead him and guide him in this season, because his voice is being used to at least open the eyes of many. So, so that's one reason as well. But then also, those of you all that follow me, y'all know that last year around this time, yesterday in particular, I saw in my memories that yesterday was the first time, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that I shared about Allie. Well, another thing, things have gone to another level with that as well. She has been interviewed on the Stu Peters show, which is a huge platform here in the U.S. and whatnot. And so, obviously, the word is getting out about, all the things that I have been sharing here on the Juice over the past year. Things that, my eyes just got opened up to of the evils and the different stuff that's going on in the world, like the human trafficking issue, as well as, again, like the things that the guy experienced when it comes to this whole idea of just rituals and all this type of stuff that's coming out, things that people call conspiracy, but these are things that these people have, witnessed firsthand, in obviously their own ways and the different things. But so basically, yeah, I spent a lot of time kind of taking in some information regarding that, and I've shared as much as I could as well. You should be able to see the links and whatnot. To check them out, check out their testimonies, and see what you say. Use your discernment, and see what the Lord shows you about those things, especially if you're not familiar with it, if I'm saying something to you that is foreign. However, I guess witnessing, again, their testimonies and like observing different people and the responses and all that stuff, I guess in some roundabout way that led to my prayer meditation for today. Um, so not the prayer meditation, but the topic for today. So the blind leading the blind, not necessarily thinking that they are necessarily the blind. I think their eyes have been open to things that maybe even we haven't seen, right, or I haven't fully witnessed, or whatever. And again, I think that's a good thing. Then are able to reach a lot more people with um, information that people need to know, including the gospel message. So again, God is using these things to open up the eyes of many. Um, However, I guess maybe one thing that I was thinking about this morning is like, I guess we have to be careful because a lot of times those of us that feel like we got it all together or we feel like, oh, we know everything, like, you know, I don't know. I mean, I know I talked about leadership the other day, so that's a whole nother conversation. And I mean, even after I got done this morning, I kind of was thinking about something else in regards to, being blind and all that. But just to go off of what I was finding verses about this morning, it was more so about the blind leading the blind. So let's get into these verses. Let me share with you all what I came across this morning. So Matthew 15:13, it says, "But he answered and said, Every plant which my heavenly Father hath not planted shall be rooted up. Let them alone. They be blind, leaders of the blind. And if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into the ditch." So, when I was reflecting on this verse this morning, when I came across it, obviously there's a lot of ways that this could be, seen and used. But let's say, for example, now we're not even talking about like believers, right? Let's talk about, obviously, according to the Bible, those that don't believe and all that, or unbelievers, or whatever the case is, they are blind, right? And they're blinded by the God of this world. I'm going to share that verse later on. However, like, okay, let's talk about the guy, right? The guy that I shared earlier. Um, at some point, right, he was blind, right? He's following someone like the artist that was, giving this festival or concert or whatever, and that's an indication of, hey, the blind leading the blind. Now, even though the artist may be all these different things on earth or whatever, if he doesn't have the knowledge of God or not following God according to the Bible, he's blind. So now, but then in that moment, right, in that festival, in that experience, God has opened his eyes to the realities of that type of situation. And so, and now he see that he was blind or whatever. So that's one way we could look at that verse, looking at it from the unbeliever standpoint, and everything like that, and from the natural eyes versus the spiritual eyes. His spiritual eyes was open to the evils that he witnessed, and the evils that was around him. Obviously, I'm sure he woke up that morning and didn't imagine that, he was going to have this life-changing experience, but he did. And so, just something to think about there. Isaiah 56:10, it says, "His watchmen are blind. They are all without knowledge. They are all silent dogs that can't bark, dreaming, lying down, loving to slumber." Um, what came to my mind, or what stood out the most to me this morning when I read that verse? The part that says loving to slumber. That stood out to me the most this morning. And I mean, let's be clear, or let's be honest, right? I mean, there's times where we just, like they say, ignorance is bliss, and so there's a lot of times that we'll turn our a blind eye to like some of the reality or some of the horrific truth. Again, with Allie sharing her testimony about the human trafficking and the things she's experienced, and then even now this guy, people are still turn a blind eye to these eyewitness testimonies. Now when it comes to the guy, I mean, he's showing video of things that he saw or whatever. So I mean, that's one thing. But yeah, I mean, some of it, maybe we are like this verse is saying, we love to slumber, lie down, close our eyes to the things that are going on around us. But hey, another verse that crossed my mind this morning as I was writing this was like, hey, we should be watching as well as pray. We always hear this phrase these days saying stay woke. It's probably more important in this season than probably at any time. So something again to think about. Now, Isaiah 35:5, it says, the eyes of the blind shall be opened and the ears of the deaf unstopped. So again, I mean, y'all know that phrase. I say it all the time in here. I feel like, those that I have eyes to see, I hope that you see, and those that the ears to hear, I hope that you hear. I mean, obviously the verse says it more clear than what I say, but, yeah, I mean, I believe that those of us, I mean, I guess that are chosen by God and are chosen to walk, down the path that he has for us or whatever. I mean, that's going to be us. Our eyes are going to be open and our ears, you're going to see and hear. And I guess once you see and hear, it's like, obviously the choice is yours, what you do with it. But, yeah. I just feel like everything is just like a go deeper verse, and it's like, okay, and here's more for you to think about. um, Good morning, Miss Lockie. Good morning to you. Thank you for tuning in live, and good morning to the second person as well. I'm not sure who you are, but good morning to you as well. Um, so then Psalm 146:8. The Lord opens the eyes of the blind. The Lord lifts up those who are bowed down. The Lord loves the righteous. So, he can open our eyes. I believe that he is trying to open all of our eyes. I think that again, a lot of us are, closing our eyes, trying to stay in that blissful place of ignorance. But at some point, we're not going to be able to play that card. Like, I think again that's why sharing the gospel is important and all those different things. Because yeah, at some point, according to the Bible, like everybody's going to hear, everybody's going to know, everybody's going to get the revelation about God. And so again, it's up to you what you do with it. But yeah, again, something to think about. Oh, it's Derek. Good morning, Derek. Good morning, bro. Look, that's Bro's bites himself. Hold on. I got you, bro. There it is. Look, don't let me hit you off for some breakfast, lunch. Oh goodness. All right, let me keep going. Let me see. Deuteronomy 27:18. Ooh, this might be some Pope, but here we go. Cursed be anyone who misleads the blind man on the road, and all the people shall say amen. Oh man, now okay, that's why I say it's very important, like leaders, man. It's very important, like, what you're doing and saying. Like a lot of this was kind of as I was reading, and you'll see in the Go Deeper section, when you read a lot of those verses, if you can, will take the time to go deeper. You're going to see that they were referring a lot to like the Pharisees and whatnot when they were talking about like the blind leading the blind and everything like that. And these are the so-called leaders, right? These were the people that like taught all the things. But you're gonna see in like I think it was in Romans 2, because I think I read that in its entirety. But at some point in the Go Deeper section, in one of them verses that I put up there, it's gonna talk about like basically they were teaching things that they don't do. Like, and so Jesus told them, yeah, do what they're saying, but don't do what they do. So again, that's why this stuff is important. I mean, obviously we can go deeper with all of this in regards to, opening our eyes to the things that are going on, being careful of who we're following. Those of us that feel like we got it all together, like, come on, man, humble yourselves and understand that, hey, you was once blind too. As much as I can sit here and be like, man, okay, like, for example, with Allie being on the Stu Peters show and a lot of other people now being exposed to her story and her testimony regarding the human trafficking and whatnot, I could sit here and be like, oh, well, I knew this last year. You know what I'm saying? I've been following her. Like, but, I mean, what does that matter? At the end of the day, I was blind, right? And I got a revelation, and I was able to see like the things that she shared, and I've been able to try to share that and stuff like that. But I'm not coming from the place of being like, oh well, yeah, I got it all figured out, and y'all is blind. Like we are all blind. At some point, we were all blind. So let's just again something to think about across the board here when it comes to this. But yeah, let's see what Miss Ashley's saying. She's saying, like childhood, do as I say, not as I do. Oh, Lord. Right. That is something they tried to pull, huh? Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. I guess that again, that's why we should be careful with that too. I mean, you should be able to practice what you preach, as they say. But anywho, I'm just sharing on today. I hope that it encourages and inspires you. On whatever path you're on in regards to or whatever level you're on in regards to this whole conversation. But the Bible verse of today is Psalm 22:4. It says, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye.
There's no time to get my nails done. Oh, I know. I went to unwindselfcare.com and got my 100% nail polish strips. Thanks, Unwind Self Care.